Okay, you know how they say birds of a feather flock together? Well, some communities around the country are coming together to fight against what they say is a concerning form of surveillance. AI startup Flock Safety is building an army of police tech. They are most recognizable for their automatic license plate readers.
One of the first things they did is jumped on Flock. The Flock technology helped us identify where this person came from.
Zoom out beyond Palantir and society. How worried are you about a surveillance state?
The primary evidence for a surveillance state in the West is not government on consumer. It's company knowing every single action you have at all times.
Operational and strategic decisions, the U.S. and allied forces rely on Palantir. I'm Meredith, and I'm a deployment strategist at Palantir. During my time as an active duty Air Force officer, I saw firsthand how hard it is to navigate the fog of war.
What you say in private is, yeah, it sucks. But I've heard this 1,000 times. But what I tell them is, you're thinking of software in kind of an old school way, but in this pendulum swing, the pendulum may never swing back. You've got to run now.
In 10 years from now, America as a country is a dramatically different place. It is a place where crime doesn't exist, where people are starting businesses and they're building families. And they will largely look back and they'll be, my kids will be in high school. In the US history book, there'll be a part about Flock and how because of Flock, we are a safer, happier, healthier country.
Garrett Langley is the co-founder and CEO of Flock Safety, a cute little company worth over $7.5 billion. It's an American manufacturer and operator of security hardware and software. They've hit it big with local law enforcement, providing advanced security systems to over 5,000 law enforcement departments across the United States.
Yeah, we're just in north of 6,000 cities, which generally speaking is most of the country.
6,000 cities.
Yeah.
That's rapid expansion.
Flock first came out with its license plate reader camera around 2021.
The system is designed to help locate vehicles involved in investigations. Flock cameras are motion-activated license plate readers that capture still images of passing vehicles.
They appeal to local law enforcement because they provide autonomous identification.
You can not only search a vehicle to try to find a vehicle by its license plate now, but you can search by vehicle make, color, descriptors, has a trailer, things like that.
Let's say there's a Flock camera on every corner of a city. You could theoretically track someone from one end to the other without ever dispatching an officer.
In this case, from a helicopter that was able to track the suspect vehicle, in addition to AVL from patrol vehicles, while using real-time routing to predict a vehicle's direction. The officers knew they could wait for the suspect vehicle to reach a less populated area to perform the apprehension.
There are an unknown number of Flock cameras strung throughout the United States. If you want to see if there's any of these cameras near you, check out dflock.org. It has a map of the whole United States with all reported cameras. It's easy to fall into the trap of taking the good parts at face value.
We're able to solve more crimes, apprehend more suspects, gather evidence that we would never have been able to gather.
Who wouldn't want law enforcement to have groundbreaking non-lethal equipment that could reduce danger for everyone? Would you give up your privacy for better security? If you wouldn't, why not? If you say no, you must be doing something illegal, because if you weren't, you'd have nothing to fear.
But he left one final warning.
1984 is, I believe, a quite terrifying masterpiece. So terrifying, in fact, I don't think I should like to read another like it.
I am not absolutely dissatisfied with it. I think it is a good idea, but the execution would have been better if I had not been under the influence of TB when I wrote it.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time.
In George Orwell's 1984, security wasn't sold as oppression, but as protection.
This is our land. A land of peace and of plenty. A land of harmony and hope.
Orwell imagined a future where the government installed screens and microphones everywhere, where citizens could never be sure when they were being watched, only that they could be. The government of Orwell's novel claimed that it was necessary for stability and safety. Crime, dissent, and even dangerous ideas had to be prevented before they spread. And slowly, people began to police themselves. They spoke less freely, they avoided certain conversations, and they adjusted their behavior, not because they were criminals, but because they knew that they were being observed.
It's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words. You won't have seen the dictionary, 10th edition yet, Smith? It's that thick. The 11th edition will be that thick.
One of Orwell's warnings was about just how easy it is to justify surveillance when it's framed as protection. In his story, the slogan wasn't, "You're losing your freedom." It was, "Big Brother is watching you." That line was made by the government of Orwell's world to provide citizens with a feeling of comfort. Think about what that means in our world. No one's going to force your freedom away from you. They'll convince you to pay for it. Flock doesn't sell its products, it leases them out to its customers. This is a huge red flag for data security, and already Flock has been scrutinized for leaking data.
But the company also makes a line of cameras for the private sector, watching places and the people inside them. This week, links to streams of those cameras were plastered on the internet for anyone to see. Our Spencer Soicher found that includes some right here in Colorado.
I just couldn't believe what I was seeing.
If there was a camera pointed at your children on the playground, live streaming it on the internet with the capability to rewind and look at what it captured, would you be happy?
This isn't just a Flock issue alone, but a government issue. It seems like Flock has no control over when and where government agencies access their cameras, even when cities and towns opt out of data sharing.
Got him in the car and left the car in the middle of the road right here.
Olympia police confirmed this was an ICE arrest, but said they had nothing to do with it. In the same release, Interim Police Chief Shelby Parker reiterated Olympia's sanctuary city status and said, quote, "Federal immigration authorities do not have access to OPD systems or data, including the Flock safety camera network." But a University of Washington study from last month shows the feds have gotten a hold of Flock images and data from several local law enforcement agencies.
ICE using Flock's data became such an issue that Flock created a new page on their website to address it. They say Flock does not work with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement or any other sub-agency of the Department of Homeland Security. Now, I don't think Flock is lying when saying that. What's happening here is that ICE is gaining access to Flock's data using the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978. Now, this act was made to regulate the surveillance of foreign powers or agents, which includes people suspected of living in the United States without citizenship. The abuse of this act allows ICE to surveil anyone they suspect to not be a U.S. citizen without ever getting a warrant. But something doesn't add up here. If ICE is getting the data from Flock, why does Flock claim that they don't work with ICE at all? There must be another variable at play.
I'm Meredith, and I'm a deployment strategist at Palantir. During my time as an active duty Air Force officer, I saw firsthand how hard it is to navigate the fog of war.
Everything you learned at your school and college about how the world works is intellectually incorrect. And here is a way of seeing the world that may not be right, but it's not wrong. Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
Can we deter the next great war?
But what they're not understanding is the technical revolution now is so great, you got to get on the train. Because that train is leaving, and there is not going to be a swing back. I'm not saying that everything I'm saying is right. I don't know that. But I am certain that what you're saying does not work, and you will be left behind in history.
Another huge company paving the way for a future of increased surveillance is Palantir, a company that develops data integration and analytics platforms enabling government agencies, militaries, and corporations to combine and analyze data from multiple sources. Oh, and by the way, they currently have a contract with ICE and Flock. separately of course. Palantir's Gotham software was adopted by the US government back in 2008 and has expanded since then. With the rise of AI, it's become even stronger. With software like Gotham and an extensive surveillance network like Phlox, a government would have all the power it needs to crack down on what it deems to be treasonous. Our concern shouldn't be that Flock and Palantir act as oppressors of today as much as they could be oppressors of tomorrow.
Palantir is a dangerous tool, Salaman. Why? Why should we fear to use it? They are not all accounted for, the lost seeing stones. We do not know who else may be watching.
In Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, the Palantir was a seeing stone, a device that allowed its wielder to observe distant events across vast space. It appeared to grant knowledge and control, but its power was double-edged. Those who looked into it were often manipulated by what they were shown. Tools that promise total visibility can distort judgment as easily as they enhance it. Palantir openly advertises predictive modeling, software designed to calculate the likelihood of unwanted behavior.
Monitoring the exercise, AI models running on satellite data detect an increased level of military activity. To the north, ship detection models identify an alarming buildup of fishing vessels surrounding a major Taiwanese port. An activity model detects that many of those ships are tied together, suggesting an ulterior motive and increasing the risk of a blockade.
Predictive systems aim to move from reaction to anticipation. In Minority Report, law enforcement arrests individuals before crimes occur, based on predictive technology.
I'm sure you all understand the legalistic drawback to pre-crime methodology.
Here we go again.
Look, I'm not with the ACLU on this, Jeff. But let's not kid ourselves. We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will.
The system is portrayed as nearly flawless. Crime drops to nearly zero and the public feels safer, but the central tension of the story is not technological capability.
You're talking about predetermination, which happens all the time. Why'd you catch that?
Because it was going to fall.
You're certain?
Yeah.
But it didn't fall.
The conflict arises when the protagonist is accused of a future crime he insists he would never commit, and the question becomes unavoidable. If you have not acted, are you guilty? And if a machine predicts your behavior, does that prediction become your fate? The issue is moral authority. Who decides what constitutes a future crime? Who verifies the prediction? There is a foundational lack of checks and balances, and the danger in predictive enforcement is that it collapses the distinction between intent and action. When a state has access to comprehensive surveillance data and advanced analytical software, the temptation to move from reaction to prevention becomes strong. I'm not wondering whether such technology can prevent harm. I'm wondering whether a society is comfortable granting any institution, public or private, the capacity to monitor, analyze, and preempt behavior at that scale. Infrastructure does not determine political outcomes, but it can make certain outcomes easier. And that's not a hypothetical question. Other democracies have already begun to walk this path. British policing has increasingly incorporated surveillance tools at a national scale.
A new law going into effect in the UK gives the British government sweeping new surveillance capabilities. The Investigatory Powers Act grants intelligence agencies and local authorities the right to access the internet history of any British citizen they target. And it may be the most extreme surveillance act in the Western world.
The United Kingdom has been arresting people for their internet activity coined non-crime hate events. Currently, there's over 133,000 of these incidents recorded by the police.
These are the only lights that even emergency vehicles can't go through, but that doesn't stop people trying. And this is the police's latest bit of kit to stop them. It has an extras pack the price of a BMW M5, but I somehow doubt Jeremy Clarkson would want one.
Sometimes where there's a dispute over identity of the driver, we need one that can take an image of the driver's face. The automatic number plate recognition cameras, they allow us to find out the name and address of the driver.
The United Kingdom invented automatic number plate recognition technology back in 1976, and widespread installation began in the 90s. There are over 18,000 active cameras in the United Kingdom, logging 90 million vehicle movements every single day. That sounds like a lot, but compare those numbers to the United States, where widespread installation started in the mid-2000s. Now there's over 25,000 active cameras. Where the United Kingdom pulls ahead of the US is facial recognition technology.
For police, it's been a game changer. Live facial recognition technology has helped officers in London and South Wales arrest hundreds of wanted criminals.
While in the United States, facial recognition is mostly used by select agencies or in limited pilot programs, the UK has moved towards a much broader and permanent use of this technology.
The system has been used in more than 1,500 arrests in London in 2 years. It's regularly deployed on the streets and at large gatherings.
The United Kingdom's facial recognition software was caught having a bias against women and some ethnic minorities in December 2025. The National Physical Laboratory found it misidentified Black and Asian people and women at a significantly higher rates than white men. After the study came out, NPL helped fix the issues, but they went unnoticed for nearly a decade. Facial recognition in the United Kingdom is becoming normalized as an everyday policing tool. The infrastructure is being integrated into routine operations rather than limited trials. When facial data is captured, stored, and compared at scale, the boundary between public space and personal privacy becomes thinner. Benjamin Franklin once wrote, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Franklin's point was not that safety lacks value. It was that liberty should not be casually exchanged for promises of efficiency. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Historically, that protection required suspicion before intrusion. Facial recognition challenges that sequence. Faces are scanned first and suspicion might come later. The issue is not whether the technology works, it's whether a democratic society is comfortable with biometric identification becoming a routine condition of public life. The United Kingdom's trajectory suggests how quickly such tools can transition from exceptional to ordinary. We have no way of seeing into the future, but what we can see is a dangerous trend of unregulated corporate expansion, the growth of a system that affects the lives of everyone, and normalization of surveillance as a background condition of daily life. What begins as a contract between a city and a private company does not remain local for long. Every single improvement and new capability is a step towards a future we've been warned about time and time again. Once a society grows accustomed to being monitored, it becomes increasingly difficult to articulate why that monitoring should have limits. The danger is not immediate collapse into authoritarianism, it's slow recalibration. The infrastructure, once established, does not ask who governs it next.
If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.